Hi, I'm Hunter, 31. The dependable one, the guy who fixes everyone's mess until he quietly disappears under the weight of their gratitude. I'm also, ironically, a human resources manager. I spend my weekdays mediating arguments about staplers and stolen lunches, writing policy on healthy communication for people who think CCing their boss counts as revenge. But at home, no policies, no boundaries, just obligation disguised as love. I rent the converted garage behind my mom's house, a one-room box with a concrete floor that never warms up and a smell that's part detergent, part ghosts of old tenants. I pay every month, shovel the driveway, mow the lawn, fix leaks. My mom calls me a blessing. Translation, free maintenance with a pulse. My sister Maya, 27, has twins, two tiny chaos machines that cry like they're auditioning for sirens. Her boyfriend Devin floats around like a helium balloon with no string. And Mom, she floats too, but hers is heavier, a queen who rules through guilt. Family helps family, she says every time I so much as glance at my wallet. I didn't notice how deep I'd sunk into it until Friday night. I came home after delivering a round of layoffs I didn't cause, but still had to announce. My throat felt raw from swallowing other people's grief. The kitchen smelled like onions and furniture polish. Mom stood by the sink, tapping a stack of envelopes against the counter like she was calling court into session. Maya sat at the island, scrolling with one hand and rocking a baby with the other. The privilege is over, Mom said. No preamble, no kindness. Starting today, your rent goes up 50% and half your paycheck goes to your sister. She has newborns. I looked at her. I looked at Maya. Maya didn't even look back, just sipped her iced coffee like this was the weather report. You make HR money, Hunter. You can handle it. I could have argued. Could have listed every bill I already covered, every diaper run, every 2 a.m. feeding. Instead, I rinsed my mug. Okay, I said. Mom blinked. She wasn't expecting agreement. She was expecting a fight she could win. Okay. I walked to my garage, sat on my bed, and stared at the ceiling until the hum of the mini fridge became a kind of drumbeat. Then I opened my laptop, titled a blank document, Boundaries and Agreements, and started typing. Because if my family wanted a policy, I'd give them one. And for once, I'd follow it to the letter. I didn't sleep much that night, too busy playing accountant, lawyer, and betrayed son in the glow of a $200 laptop. I made folders labeled utilities, groceries, repairs, and favor that became permanent. Every receipt I'd saved out of habit, formula, hospital copays, replacement fridge, finally had a purpose. By 2 a.m., I was staring at a total that looked like a down payment on regret. I printed everything, slid it into plastic sleeves, and built a binder. A black one. Plain, professional, terrifyingly neat. On the cover, Boundaries and Agreements. It looked like something that could fire you. Saturday, I was quiet. Maya asked if I could pick up baby wipes, and I said sure, then handed her the receipt with a yellow sticky that said track this expense. She laughed like I'd made a joke. I didn't laugh back. That evening, Mom poked her head into the garage. You're sulking, she said. No, I'm budgeting, I replied. Same thing. Sunday came with its own choreography, grandparents arriving for lunch, Maya's boyfriend pretending to help, the twins crying on schedule. Mom loves appearances. She laid out her good plates and an attitude to match. I walked in with a cheesecake and the binder tucked under my arm. Grandma smiled, kissed the air near my cheek, and went straight to the fridge for her pre-cut fruit. The second she opened the door, she screamed so loud I thought someone had fallen. The fridge was almost empty except for bottled water, cheesecake, and a bright orange sign taped to the middle shelf. Temporary fridge to be relocated on the first. Pending lease. H. Below it, a folder with the receipt, warranty, and a line that read, Property of Hunter R. Purchased 2023. Grandma shrieked like she'd found a crime scene. Mom rushed in. Mother, what? Grandma pointed into the fridge. Why is there paperwork in here? I kept my voice even. Because I bought it. And unless there's an agreement, it comes with me when I move. The silence that followed could have frozen soup. Maya blinked first. You're moving out? Apparently rent's going up 50%, I said. I'd like that in writing. Mom's jaw flexed. You're being dramatic. No, I said, setting the binder on the counter like evidence. I'm being documented. Mom flipped through the binder like it was a betrayal in hardcover. What is this, Hunter? Receipts? Policies? 2 years worth, I said. Everything I've paid for. Totals tabbed. Lease draft in the front. Family support policy in the back. Maya scoffed. Support policy? They're babies, not employees. I know, I said. That's why the twins get their own account. I'll contribute half my paycheck there. You submit receipts for formula, diapers, medical stuff. Anything else boutique strollers, DoorDash. Devin's vape habit is a no. You can't talk to your sister like that, Mom snapped. I'm talking like an adult, I said, steady. Because you told me my privilege is over. I'm agreeing with structure. Grandpa shuffled in, hearing the last bit. Structure? I slid the binder toward him. If my pay's being divided, we'll do it by policy. Transparent, trackable, fair. He read the cover sheet out loud. $14, $8.73, 62 reimbursable household support. Mom's face drained. You counted diapers? Yes, because diapers count. The twins hiccuped like punctuation. Devin wandered in half-dressed. What's going on? Accountability, I said. Also, your line on the family phone plan transfers to your name tomorrow. Accept it or it deactivates. He laughed. You're bluffing. Check your email, I said. Mom's voice rose. You're cutting us off? I'm transferring responsibility, I said, meeting her eyes. Gas, electric, Wi-Fi, all in your name by Monday. You're punishing us. I'm honoring your decision, I said quietly. You raised the rent. I'm just adjusting the lease. For the first time in years, the room tilted toward silence. Grandma cleared her throat, closed the binder gently, and said, sign it or don't. But stop pretending he hasn't been keeping this house running. Mom looked smaller after that. She pushed the binder away. We're not signing anything today. Okay, I said. Then I'll eat my cheesecake and start packing. The war was officially over, not with shouting, but with paperwork. Monday morning came like a spreadsheet come alive. Devin's phone went dark at 10 a.m. sharp. Maya called me from Mom's number at 10:03. Hunter, my phone's not working. Accept responsibility in the email, I said. It'll turn back on. I don't have a card with enough limit. Mom does. It's her house. Silence. Then, small and bitter. You're really doing this? I'm doing what you asked, I said. Half my paycheck goes to the twins, not to the void. By noon, the gas company called Mom to confirm the transfer. At 12:30, the electric company called. At 1 o'clock, the cable provider tried to upsell her. She texted me, this is spiteful. I replied, this is governance. At work, I trained a new supervisor on progressive discipline. The irony tasted metallic. Boundaries for strangers? Easy. For family? Combat. That night, Grandma called. Your grandfather says to tell you he's proud, she said. He also wants his lawnmower back if you're taking yours. I laughed for the first time in days. Deal. By Wednesday, the house had gone quiet. Maya texted me a photo of Walgreens receipts, diapers, formula, baby rash cream captioned, like this? Exactly, I wrote back. Approved, $300 transferred. She replied with one word, thanks. It was the first real conversation we'd had in months. Thursday, Grandpa drove me to see my new apartment. 2 bedrooms, clean, a balcony big enough for a chair and a basil plant. I stood in the empty living room and realized how loud peace can be when you're not used to it. You can decorate, Grandpa said, patting my shoulder. It sounded like permission to breathe. On Friday, Mom sent me a photo of the first electric bill with the total circled in red. This is ridiculous. I wrote back, budget meeting pending. No reply. Saturday, I labeled boxes in the garage washer, mine. Dryer, mine. Fridge, mine. It looked obsessive, but I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. There are clean ways to leave. I wanted mine to be clean. Sunday lunch came again, but I didn't. Instead, I met my friend Drew for pho. I told him everything, about the binder, the fridge sign, the phone plans. He listened without interrupting. When I finally ran out of steam, he just said, yeah, that sucks. And I'm proud of you. It hit harder than any paycheck. At 5 p.m., my phone buzzed, the family group chat lighting up like a bonfire. Mom, Hunter has decided to move out without any warning, so dinners will be limited. Maya, he's also taking the fridge. Aunt Liz, what? Maya, he bought it. He put a sticker on it like a psycho. Grandma, he labeled his property like a responsible adult. The chat went silent for 8 full minutes. Then Aunt Liz again. Does he have an extra binder? Asking for budgeting reasons. I laughed into my soup until Drew thought I might choke. That evening, Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. She texted, this isn't how family behaves. I typed and deleted 3 replies before landing on. Family behaves like family when everyone has a role, not just a wallet. No response. Monday came. I wrapped the dryer hose with care, unscrewed the fridge water line, taped over the valve, and left a note. Turn off supply here. Call me if you need help. H. Devin hovered in the doorway, hands shoved in pockets. Didn't think you'd actually do it, he said. Most people don't, I said. I train them that way. He nodded, awkward but sincere. Ma's scared. Says you're punishing her. I'm protecting myself, I said. And the twins. He hesitated. Got a job. Warehouse night shift. Starts next week. That's good, I said, and meant it. Send me your schedule. I can take a night feed if you need sleep before work. He blinked. You do that? I'm not punishing babies, I said. I'm teaching grown-ups. He smiled a little. You're weird, man. HR weird, I said. We both laughed. For the first time, it felt like family. Move-out day started crisp and bright, the kind of morning that almost tricks you into believing in new beginnings. Grandpa showed up with his pickup. Drew brought coffee. We loaded boxes labeled with absurd precision: kitchen, mine, tools, definitely mine, emotional baggage, lightly used. The fridge went last, wrapped in moving blankets like a precious artifact. Mom stood in the doorway, arms folded, face unreadable. I'd rehearsed this moment as speech, maybe an apology, but when I looked at her, all I could manage was calm. I handed her a copy of the lease and the twins' account info again. The offer stands, I said. Half my paycheck. Through the account. She frowned. You're cold, Hunter. I used to think saying no was cold, I said. Now I think it's honest. Her eyes flicked to the twins sleeping on the couch. We're supposed to take care of each other. We are, I said. That's why I'm doing this. So I can actually take care of myself and still help them without drowning. She swallowed hard. You think I wanted any of this? I think you wanted an easier life, I said softly. You tried to build it on me. And I let you. She exhaled like she'd been holding that truth for years. You sound like a therapist. I sound like HR, I said. She snorted, a half laugh that cracked the tension in the air. I left the house quiet. No slamming doors, no grand finale. Just a truck, a few hugs from Grandma, and a driveway that finally felt like an exit instead of a leash. That night, I sat on the floor of my new apartment eating cold pizza off a moving box. I expected loneliness to slam into me. Instead, the quiet felt like a soft animal sitting beside me, breathing slow. For the first time in a decade, no one needed anything from me. And for the first time, that didn't feel selfish, it felt alive. 2 days later, my phone buzzed a notification from the twins' account. Maya, pediatric appointment tomorrow. Copay $30. Attaching receipt. Me, approved. Transferred. Maya, thanks. Me, how are the babies? Maya, tired, hungry, loud. Me, sounds like us. She sent a photo, 2 tiny faces, red and furious and perfect. Something knotted in my chest. I saved it. By the end of the month, the house had changed. Grandma helped Mom set up a real budget. They canceled 3 streaming services. Devin kept his warehouse job and hated it, which was good. Hating a job is the first sign you're doing it yourself. Maya started a spreadsheet she was oddly proud of. She texted me budget wins like they were baby milestones. Still, the guilt messages came. You make more, Hunter. You could help more. You moved out like you're better than us. Your grandmother can't lift groceries. Some days I replied, calm and short. Some days I ignored them. I learned something crucial. A boundary that makes people uncomfortable isn't cruelty. It's evidence they were benefiting from your lack of one. 2 months later, Grandma called. Sunday lunch. Come eat. I said yes. I brought dessert again, the same cheesecake. The kitchen felt different this time. Fewer takeout containers, more Tupperware. The new fridge hummed a cheap model Mom bought on sale. She patted it like a loyal pet. When Grandma walked in, she opened the door and laughed. No signs today. No signs, I said. Good. She smiled, squeezing my hand. We don't need them anymore. The room was lighter. Not perfect, but breathable. And for once, I didn't feel like the villain in my own story. I still keep the black binder on a shelf by my desk. Not to weaponize it, but to remember it. Sometimes I flip through the pages, not to tally what I spent, but to trace the moment I stopped confusing exhaustion for kindness. Inside the front pocket is a single page I added last month. It's titled New Policy. Policy: I don't fund chaos. Purpose: to preserve peace. Scope: applies to family, friends, and anyone who confuses generosity with obligation. Clause: if it needs a receipt, it needs a plan. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but writing it made me realize something. I'd lived half my life thinking love meant fixing everything quietly and letting people believe it fixed itself. That kind of love looks noble on the outside and feels like drowning with a smile on the inside. Now, love feels smaller, steadier. It fits inside text threads about baby milestones. Every couple of weeks, Maya sends photos the twins covered in spaghetti, asleep in a laundry basket, smiling at something just out of frame. She's proud of every receipt she attaches, and I'm proud of her for learning to ask. Devin complains about work in the group chat, but pays his phone bill on time. Progress looks strange, sometimes like a man griping about adulting while adulting. Mom still sends guilt texts now and then. You make it look easy without us. You don't visit enough. We could have figured it out together. Some I answer with love, some I let fade into silence. She's learning too that control is not care and silence isn't punishment. The last time I came for Sunday lunch, we washed dishes together. No speeches, no tension, just clinking plates and running water. You were right, she said suddenly, eyes on the sink. About the money. About a lot of things. I didn't milk it or gloat. I just said, thanks, and meant it. She nodded. I still don't like your tone. I'm working on it, I said. From the living room, Grandma yelled. You two stop flirting and bring dessert. We really laughed. Even the twins squeaked like they were in on the joke. Afterward, as I left, the neighbor waved. Hey, Hunter. House looks calmer. Thanks, I said. So do I. When I got home, I put the binder back on the shelf and looked around my quiet apartment. Basil thriving on the balcony, dishes stacked, air clear. I wrote one last note at the bottom of that final page. I am not a bank. I am a person. I used to think freedom would come with fireworks. Turns out, it came with paperwork, cheesecake, and a cleanly detached water line. People think power looks loud, shouting, slamming doors, winning. But sometimes the loudest thing you'll ever do is tape a sign inside a fridge and whisper, no more. It wasn't revenge. It was oxygen. And for the first time in my life, the oxygen was mine. It's strange how quickly peace becomes normal once you stop apologizing for it. The first month in my apartment, I kept expecting chaos to come knocking. A text, a bill, an emergency that wasn't mine. But nothing came. Just mornings that belonged to me. Coffee without guilt. Silence that didn't demand an explanation. I started doing little things I used to talk myself out of: buying fresh flowers, taking walks after dinner, sitting on the balcony with the basil plant while the city hummed below. I didn't need anyone to see me doing better. The point wasn't proof. The point was breathing. Mom calls sometimes now. Not for money, for recipes, for updates on the twins, for small talk. The first time she asked for advice on budgeting, I nearly choked on my tea. She's not perfect. She still backslides into guilt now and then. But she's trying. And I've learned that trying is worth more than pretending. Maya's twins are growing fast, crawling, grabbing, pulling at her hair like tiny karma machines. Every time she sends a picture, I feel this quiet warmth in my chest. I don't see debt or duty anymore. Just family I chose to keep, not family I was trapped supporting. Last weekend, I drove by the old house. The yard looked neater. The lights worked. I saw Devin on the porch with one of the twins asleep on his chest. He didn't see me, and I didn't stop. That moment didn't need me in it. It was running just fine without my intervention. Back home, I made coffee and opened the binder one last time. The pages smelled faintly of ink and closure. I slipped a new note into the back sleeve, smaller than the others, handwritten, not typed. Final addendum. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks you get to control. Then I shut the binder, placed it on the shelf, and looked around my quiet little kingdom, the kind built from hard choices and soft mornings. Out on the balcony, the basil swayed in the wind. Below, someone laughed, and it echoed just enough to sound like peace. That's my story. No fireworks, no apology. Just the sound of oxygen filling a room I finally own. A few months later, life settled into something simple, almost boring, and that was the best part. The binder gathered a thin layer of dust, but I didn't put it away. It stayed where I could see it, not as armor anymore, but as proof. Boundaries work when you believe you deserve them. Every so often, Grandma calls just to gossip, Grandpa drops off soup in reused yogurt tubs, and Maya sends photos captioned with things like 2 teeth or first steps. I transfer money without hesitation, not out of guilt, but out of choice. That difference is everything. Mom still has her moments. Last week she texted, "You've changed." I stared at the words a long time before replying. That was the point. No fight followed. Just a heart emoji and a photo of the twins asleep on the couch beside her. Sometimes, late at night, I walk out to the balcony. The basil has grown taller than I expected, stubborn, thriving, quietly green. The city lights blink like a slow pulse, and I think about that first night I moved out, eating cold pizza off a cardboard box. I thought freedom would feel loud back then, like fireworks or shouting finally. But it didn't. It felt like air moving through an open window. And now, every time I breathe, it still does.